Hello there, watch friends, and welcome back to Watches Tonight. I am not Tim Masso. We tried to get a satellite feed straight in from Switzerland, but we thought we'd give Tim a little bit of a break today. So it's me, CQ, the watch guy, your favorite substitute host, holding down the fort. We're going to have a little bit of fun tonight, talking some of the new SIHH pieces that are being announced as we speak, and I'm sure they're enjoying some nice fine champagne or Cristal. But we're not. We have some nice water here, and we're gonna talk about some new pieces that came out for SIHH. I know what you guys really want to talk about, which is the new AP's Code 1159. We'll definitely get into that a little bit later. But I thought let's start off with some pieces that we all might like, or at least I know I like very much. Let's have some fun. Let's start with Panerai. Now, Panerai this year has decided to energize the submersible category, in my opinion. A lot of new pieces out there, and this one's pretty cool. PAM 1039 La Rosa Challenger limited edition. La Rosa is a sailing team that's challenging for the next America's Cup. It's pretty cool. What I really like about this watch is Carbotech. It's 47mm. It's a submersible. All these things I like. Gray sailcloth dial, which I think is really cool. If you get a little bit of a closer look there, a lot of fabric to that dial. It's a GMT as well, so you got a little touch of red on the GMT hand, a touch of red on the sub-seconds hands as well. And I think there's just so much character on this watch, on this dial, and I really like what Panerai is doing this year. They're having a lot of fun with their submersibles, and they're giving their hardcore clients and collectors something else to chew on a little bit. Sorry, I'm just trying to log in here to the chat. I know you guys want to say hello, and make sure you guys tune into all the new SIH videos that are dropping almost every minute from Tim. He's out there on his cell phone giving you all that juicy Tim love that you like, and giving you a sneak peek, and I dare say first before many others of live views on the watches. Yeah, so 1039, really cool piece. Retail is going to be around $19.9. For a Carbotech piece, limited edition, I understand it. Again, that dial I just really love on that watch. So let's move on to the next one, and these would be the Mike Horn editions. Really interesting concept Panerai is doing here. Before we talk about the extra things that's going on, let's just talk about the watch. 47mm submersibles using recycled titanium. They're calling it eco titanium, which is really cool. If you look on the watch, a lot of nice details. The hands are really unique. The bezel is nice, has a relief setting, or kind of an emboss, if you want to say, on the bezel, which gives it a really nice look. You see two editions here. Now, the one in the green is going to be your PAM 984. That'll be your somewhat regular production piece, which again I think is really cool. Now, the piece in blue is really interesting. This is a limited edition of 19 pieces. This is the PAM 985, and every person who buys this watch will have the opportunity to go with Mike Horn and have some fun in the Arctic, which I think is it's pretty cool. So you got 19 pieces there. Oh, not find my chat. I'm sorry. I want to get in here and talk to you guys. I want to just be here by myself. All right, hello everybody in the chat. Matt Forcer again is first. If you get first, I don't know, 30 times in a row, Matt, we'll give you something nice. I feel like you deserve a reward just for your, your energy and your loyalty. Hello, everybody. James Adden, hi and rising. Good to see you again. Mike W, Alexander Kipperman, Sean James, thank you for tuning in from Toronto. All right, back to these cool watches. So like I was saying, the 985, 19 pieces. You get to go with Mike Horn to Antarctica, which I think is pretty cool. Mike Horn is a South African adventurer, has circumnavigated the Arctic Circle on his own, which I think is insane. Real cool back of the watch there as well. And it's also, the strap is recycled PET, which I think is plastic and other materials from the sea. So this watch is truly a nice showing of what you could do with recycled materials. From the word on the sheet is that the titanium is just as colorful, just as bright as freshly minted titanium. So I think that's really nice to see recycled titanium, and I think it'd be really cool to see more recycled metals getting out there, because after all, from these cases to be forged, these metals are heated up, they're processed again anyway, so why not use some recycled materials and keep the earth a little bit more green. So let me know if you need a friend to go with you on this Antarctic expedition. I'll gladly brave the colds with you, have some fun there. And that's 984 on the green, 985 for the blue. So let's do one more Panerai before we quit. to the PAM 799. I think this is really, really fun. So the PAM 799 is the new version of BMG Tech. So you got BMG Tech case, which is a very, you know, a hardened alloy, you know, resistant to erosion, resistant to shock, resistant to getting beat up. You know, they're, you know, bulletproof watch, let's say that. And they put a Carbotech bezel on it, and I think this is just a really cool look. I like the blue lume on this watch. I think it's a nice, fun submersible. Again, you ended up at 47mm, but I think it's a nice meeting of different materials, and a good showing of Panerai actually listening to his clientele and, you know, using watches that actually sell and have some fun with it and kind of re-envision their whole line. They did a lot of new submersibles this year in a lot of different colors, and I think a lot of people were wondering what Panerai might do besides just a duo line, and I think they really did a good job kind of bringing some life into the submersible families, and I'm excited. There's plenty more Panerais. We only could sneak in 4 in this show, but definitely a lot to cover, so we gotta keep on moving. I like watches. I would last more than 5 minutes in Arctic. I think I have enough, you know, blubber to at least go 10 minutes, so, you know, get your facts right there, sir. Next, let's go up to Ulysse Nardin, who's having, I think, a really nice SIHH so far. Jet Black, I do think this signals a little bit of a comeback for Panerai. You know, Panerai was never too far out of the realm of, you know, doing good. I think they just, a lot of collectors left them because they were going through that period of, you know, putting new in-house movements and everything. I think the dual line really bumped them up, and I think them not making a crazy, of course there'll probably be a super complicated watch that'll come out, but they're really focusing on just like having fun with different materials, having fun with different colors, just making really good looking watches. And at the end of the day, the easiest way to sell a watch is to make a watch that looks good. I really think. Oh, and before we go on, let's do a wrist check. Are we there, Garrett? We'll do a wrist check a little bit later. Let's move on to Ulysse Nardin. And Ulysse Nardin is doing some pretty cool things. I think the first thing that's really nice is the Freak X, which is going to pop up on the screen right now. I love the Ulysse Nardin Freak. I think is one of their, you know, revolutionary designs. The Freak X does a lot of things here. It you know, slims down the case a little bit. They have a crown on the side, which you'd be like, oh, this is not really a Freak. But what you got to love about this watch, it starts at $21,000 in the titanium, which is very, very accessible for a Ulysse Nardin Freak, which I think, you know, after the price increases and everything, their entry level is somewhere in the 60s to 70s. So I think it's really, really nice looking watch. It's not a full tourbillon on the minute hand there, just kind of like a floating escapement. I think that's still pretty cool. And it's an automatic watch, which is really nice because, you know, I saw a lot of Freaks, and the one thing that does get a little tiring with them is winding them. You have to wind them on the back of the case. If you don't have the right grip or the right connector there, it can be a little bit more annoying, let's just say that. So I think this was a pretty cool piece. You're seeing it here in gold, which tops out at $30,000, which is, you know, really, really accessible for this brand. They could charge in the 40s if they wanted to. And then there's a nice carbonium, let's just call it their forged carbon version, and that's gonna hit around 24K. And I think that's a winner for me with the blue. Just really nice touches. I love the look of carbon fiber, and again at 24,000 retail, really not a loser here by any regards. All right, now let's get the wrist shot in before we move on. Here we go. Today I have, you know, just paying homage to the brand that I love very much before, you know, I got into different details today. Royal Oak Chronograph 43mm, you know, classy black dial with the silver sub dials. You know, a watch you really can't go wrong with. You can wear this every day, do anything with it, and it's just a beautiful watch. And like I just said before, if you want to sell a watch, just make a watch that looks good. It kind of does the trick. All right, so let's move on to another. This is gonna be interesting. So Ulysse Nardin did a really cool. You know, they've done erotic watches for a while now, and these just caught my eye because they're really beautiful and really, really well done. And what they did is they partnered up with a Italian artist called Milo Manera. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And he's known for making these kind of, you know, erotic cartoons, you know, but very, very artsy. The style is very, very beautiful. And what I like about these are a couple of things. First, it's all done in micro painting, so everything's taken about 50 hours to complete. They're taking his drawings and making them really, really miniature and hand painting it, which is amazing. If you don't think this is hard, I want you to go home, take a pencil, and draw a perfect circle, and just let me know how long it takes you to draw a perfect circle, and then come back and tell me if painting this whole picture with a magnifying glass is not a hard thing to do. There are 10 different references, some a little bit more, risque than others, but I really, love these watches. It's marine inspired, to me, with, I love the ocean. I like the waves. It's really beautiful. There's some mermaids in there. The great great white shark is in there as well. And I just love the play on lights. It's underwater, but there's so much depth to these dials. The reflection of the light off the shark is very beautiful. And I think, maybe you don't like erotic watches, but you can look at these watches and see art, and real beautiful pieces. And what I really like about this is these are stainless steel, and they're 26,000. Only 10 pieces made in each design. So they didn't make a million of these. They didn't make them super expensive, but they made them for somebody who enjoys this type of dial. You could go out and you can actually get it. You're not going to wait on some crazy, you might have to wait on a list. You might have to hunt a little bit for the one that you want, but it's not crazy priced. And I think this is a good example of a brand knowing its clientele, knowing how to sell watches, and not pricing things super crazy, especially in this climate. There's no need for this to be set in platinum, being a $50,000 to $60,000 watch. I really love that it's steel, 26,000, and again, the dials are so beautiful. I'm really, hoping to get one of these and see it in person. So kudos to Ulysse Nardin having a good show in the SIHH so far. They just the new Skeleton X watch came out. That was pretty cool as well. I think a little more fancy, but I really like that they updated the Freak, and this erotic classical line, which again, is not for everybody, but it still shows that they're making just nice watches, nice quality watches for fans. There's only maybe 100 of them, and after they're gone, but again, beautiful watches. Let's see what's going on to my friends in the chat. I don't know who doesn't like erotic shark art. Flipping, you're absolutely right. And you guys gotta check out Panerai's stuff. If you just Google, he does really, really great cartoons that just have a very nice artistic style. Everything looks hand painted, really, really, really beautiful. And I think that is it for Ulysse Nardin. And then I guess you really couldn't avoid it that long, huh? So let's go to our friends at Audemars Piguet and the Code 1159, which is their newest entry, the newest line that was just released. I'll be honest with you guys. We had a holiday party this Friday, and it was a good time. Went home a little bit late that night, and I woke up early Saturday, and I went on Instagram and I saw this, and it was on one of those Instagram pages. The guy does a lot of watch memes, and I'm like, oh, this is hilarious, this is funny. And then I go into office Saturday, and everybody's huddled around the screens, and everybody's like, what's going on? And so then we have the 1159 watches. Before I even start, I don't have a picture here, but if you look on the back of these watches, it says Code 1159 by Audemars Piguet. And, the reason why I think it says that is because if you looked at this watch, you would not know it's an AP. I'm sure it's really, really well built. The case is really cool. You got scalloped. It is like a 3-part case. The lugs are kind of attached there. If you look on the side profile, you have the octagon of giving you the feeling of the royal oak. But new movements, new time-only movement, new chronograph movement, but they just look boring. They're just not nice looking watches. And the sad part about this is, as we're going to get into a little bit later, is they had some really good releases this year, and this just feels rushed. This just feels like, I was in the food industry for a long time, and sometimes if the presentation isn't right, it doesn't matter how good the food takes. You need that whole package. And I think they did a good job on the movement design. I think the case is interesting. I want to see it in person. I'm sure it's beautiful. There is a curved crystal on it, so it's extra legible and all these great things. But you're seeing all the memes going around with this, comparing it to a Daniel Wellington or a movement watch, which are watches that cost a couple $100. And you can't convince me that these are, let's see, time only starting at 25,000. The chronograph is at 40,000. It's just not getting to me. I think that you know, again, half baked. I think the hands are a little bit basic. The dials just look very, very plain. And I think, you know, for AP, it's just, I apologize, because I was one of those guys who were saying, hey, you need something different than the Royal Oak. You need to have a new movement. You need to have a new family. I sincerely apologize, because this is what happens when you push a brand a little bit too much. And, you know, stick to the Royal Oaks. We really love them. Really enjoy wearing them. I'm wearing one right now. And I think, you know, that's where we need to focus a little bit. I'm sure they'll clean this up, and if we skip to the picture of the perpetual calendar with the aventurine dial, it's that's a beautiful watch as well, and, you know, gorgeous, you know, but again, it's still a little, there's something lacking, right? Beautiful dial, there's depth to it. Aventurine glass has this look of kind of like the night sky with stars around it, which is very, very beautiful. But I could show you a Mega Speedmaster with this dial that looks exactly the same. There's a few other watches that look exactly the same like this that are a much different price point. And I just think that at a certain point there was a little bit of I don't know, the artistry, the flair that we've come to expect from a brand like Audemars Piguet was just not there. And I think they got to the dial end and they're just like, oh, we can just give them a basic dial and they'll buy, you know, whatever we put out there. And I think the biggest win for AP with this is that they're basically going to be all in boutiques. So nobody will know how much they sell or how much they don't sell. And I'm sure, you know, next year they'll give us some better dials. But I just, you know, not a win in my book for AP. I really love the brand. You know, I'm a big fanboy for AP, and I just think, you know, they really, the part of the thing with this is they really push the, hey, this is going to be a design that nobody else has done before. This is something that you kind of throw back to the history of AP, and, you know, there's nothing wrong looking back in your history if it prevents you from making missteps like this, because I think we can all agree here that you know, AP is that one brand that was kind of edging itself to the top of the trilogy. You know, of course, it was very hard to dismount Patek, but this was supposed to show that they can make a line of watches independent of the Royal Oak that was gonna do well, and this shows more evidently than not that all they really have is Royal Oak, and they really need to stay in that bucket for a little while until, you know, maybe we can hire some, you know, designers that just have a little bit more energy, because, you know, I really don't see, I just don't see it, to be honest with you. I love that there's a new chronograph movement. I think that watch in some different colorways can be good. I think they'll have some fun with those dials. But I don't think, I don't know. Let's see what is the chat thinking on the 1159. Let's see if I can find one guy who loves this watch really quickly. And that's a no. But hey, you know, it's a great brand with great lineage, and they got the bank to take this type of hit, and maybe this is something that we don't see, but it's just really interesting that this is what you know, the word 8 years are, which is, it sucks because there is a watchmaker and designers out there who took a lot of time out of their life to work on this project, and you know, it's sad to kind of have to bash it like this, but, you know, you got to spank a baby if it does something wrong, and this needs a little bit of a spanking, you know. So, you know, let's move on to what AP actually did really, really well this year. You know, let's get off on that. We'll come back. And what they do, they reintroduce some Royal Oaks, Royal Oak chronograph, or Royal Oak 41 millimeter. Now the 15500, so long to 15400. Really nice update here. The dials are a little bit more cleaned up. If you notice, the date window is a little bit more towards the edge of the bezel versus being centered to the dial. You really have to take a picture of this and put a picture of the 15400 up side by side, and you really can see the differences here. Clean up the movement as well. You go to 4 hertz from 3 hertz, 70 hour versus 60 hour power reserve. Case is a little bit thicker, 10.4 versus 9.8, which I think people will like as well. And then the hour markers are a little bit, the batons are a little bit thicker as well. So I think this is a really good update for them. I think it will wear great. Of course, I want to see them in person. I think this was a nice gradual update to the 15400, which, you know, maybe nobody really expected, but it's a nice touch, you know, and something that, you know, will sell well, of course, and will look well, and it's a natural projection or progression of the 15400 and the Royal Oak line in general. So I think kudos to AP for doing a nice job there. And then let's go to the chronos. 38 millimeter chronos in steel and in rose gold, I think these are a hit. I think a 38 with the pushers, it feels like a 39. I think the thickness will be nice. I think people with gentlemen with smaller wrists will love these. I think ladies will love these as well, and I can see them doing a bunch of dials in the future and have a lot of fun with this. And you know, again, these are two simple introductions, but things that people really wanted. And you know, so many people are so excited for this 38mm and always wanted a chrono and a little bit. You know, I'm a big guy. This is a bigger wrist, and this fits me good. But even a 38 would probably feel nice on my wrist as well. So I think this shows that AP, there's somebody there still knows what's going on. And even with the new offshores that came out in the camel colors, at least somebody there has a pulse to what's going on and what the true collector wants from their brand. I think that's a good entry from AP, and there's a couple other things that you know, will be released as well. And I gotta reiterate one more time, make sure you keep on the Watchbox channel. Tim is releasing videos. Literally, he's up right now cutting videos, sending it over, and then our, you know, bomb.com production team is making it to you guys super quick. I think 8 videos are up there as well already. So let's go into the chat. Do we have any questions tonight before? Yeah, so you know, a little bit of AP bashing. And, you know, I can't say it's not well deserved. It really, I think a big problem with the 1159 series is the hype that was surrounding it and the different, you know, promotion videos. You had celebrities involved, and it was all blurred out, and you really got people hyped up. And I think this would have been better if, let's say, they just did the chrono, they just did the time off, or just did the chrono and the tourbillon, which is pretty cool. And you did like a small batch. Hey, you know, this came out as well along with the other Royal Oaks. You gave people a little bit more time to soak it in. I think that does a little bit better. But when you say, hey, this is going to be the hottest things, and you know, everybody's gonna, this is gonna be the new thing, and it's just not. It's not what people are looking for from that brand. And I think at that price point, there's so many other things you can, for $40,000 to get a chronograph and a leather strap. There's so many other brands, quality brands that I could go to and easily spend my money and have something that looks good and seems well thought out. You know, it's just. It's not nice sometimes when you have a watch of that type of dollar amount and you put it together with some lower end watches and you can see that maybe the same designer was used, or you know, just a couple of extra steps weren't there. And again, you know, in person, I'm sure these will look beautiful, and the case design is gonna be nice and the dials will be beautiful. But it's just, you know, I'm glad I don't have to worry about selling them this year. That's for sure. True Lie, what is my favorite watch from SIHH this year so far? His choice is JLC Tourbillon, which is pretty awesome. The FP Journe vertical tourbillon is really nice as well. I really enjoy seeing a vertical piece, vertical tourbillon. I think that's pretty cool. Their new resonance is really nice. What else is really poking out to me? I think Parmigiani released some stuff I didn't get into as yet, and again, those Panerai submersibles, I think those are the best like fun watches out that I'm really enjoying right now. JLC is definitely coming out again. That enamel dial gill shape piece that me and Jason talked about in the last show, I think was a really good win for them. And they're another brand that's just churning out the good stuff. VC with the new the overseas perpetual calendar in gold blue dial on a gold bracelet as well. That's a really nice piece. Definitely check that out. And long, you know, so many good pieces from them. I didn't get a chance to really, you know, sit down and stick into it. So I don't have all the details there for you. Let's see, before we who won the Submariner? Do we know? Do you know Buckets? Do you have a name? What's the next watch? Buckets doesn't know. Oh, nice. We got a Colt Sky Racer for the next giveaway. I want to win one of these watches. Maybe that could happen. Let's see if you can get anything. Opinions on Breitland's new releases. I think the new Navi timers look okay. You know, not a fan of the Navi Timer 8, but you know, it'll be okay. Breitland will be okay. I have confidence that a brand like that will find the ship will right itself. Is Overseas a flop from Mark S? You know, let's see. Only time will tell. Vacheron's another brand, and you know, that's a brand that AP should really be watching closely, because that's another brand that had its collectors, went a little too wishy-washy in what its identity is, and that it now it has to gain ground again. Thank God AP has a royal oak, and royal oak is so strong, and they're all boutiques right now, because I'm telling you, if the 1159 had the opportunity to be sold to normal retailers, it would be gray market the next day at cost, just to get it out of the shelf. It's nothing. There's nothing you can really do. And I think price point is a big thing that we got to talk about. Is the price. And if you look at all the brands that are releasing, everybody's the prices aren't too crazy. And when you see time only dress watch, even though it's precious metal, going for that price, you still have to bring me the value, right? Nobody's gonna buy anything without a value. I'll pay X amount for a Patek because the value's there. They take care of their whole collection. They don't just focus on the Nautilus, even though it does really well for them. They make nice collar travelers, and the 5227 is a nice watch, and the 5146, which is a classic looking annual calendar, still sells to this day. So when you see a brand like that pays attention to everything that's going on in its ecosystem, you don't mind paying a little bit of a premium to say, hey, you know what, I'll always be able to move this watch, and my watch will never be worth zero. And I could definitely see 1159, especially this generation, a few years from now going not for zero, but not for too much over. Let's see what else we got before. Let's see. IWC has some good releases. The Spitfire, Big Pop Perpetual, that's pretty cool. The new Petit Prince Perpetual, I believe, is really nice as well. IWC is showing, again, it's taking its time. It's investing in the models that do very, very well for them, and it's not overextending itself. I think what they did with the Jubilee series last year was excellent, where you sprinkle a bunch of limited editions around the whole ecosystem, and it pushes everything up. And I think IWC, they're good buys, and the value as well isn't too crazy. So definitely, I think IWC is a brand on the up. The Cardio Santos XL, another excellent piece that blew out, is to die for. What can you say? I had an opportunity to try one on. I didn't want to take it off, but it's life in the business, right? Oh. All right, let's see if you have one more before we close it out for today. Thank you guys for tuning in so much. I know it's not as fun without Tim here, but I hope I'm an okay fill-in. We can I hate to circle back on it again, but Matt Forster had an interesting point. In AP's defense, high expectations to introduce a new line, and that is correct. Very, very high expectations, but just because you have high expectations don't mean you just got to push something out there. Sometimes in your life, you might set a goal. You might write down this goal, and you might write down a date, like, hey, I need to hit this goal by this date. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to push that goal to make it happen. If it's not a quality piece, if you're in the business of selling things, if you're in the business of selling art, at the end of the day, where it's mechanical art that we're dealing with, especially these price points. If you don't have a way to justify the means and why I should spend this money and show me what's going in, it's not worse than not. Now, again, I think next year they clean it up, and I think there will be some really nice pieces. I just think this one could have waited a year. I'd have been okay with just the Royal Oak editions. We did get a Royal Oak tourbillon, a black ceramic, all ceramic bracelet as well, which is pretty cool too. So I think there were so many other pieces that they could have dropped without giving us the 1159. I think it's so funny, but I didn't see it until I left the office, and Armand back at Watchbox pointed it out. It says code 1159 by Audemars Piguet. And most brands, when they do a buy like that, it means there's such a disconnection of the true identity of the brand that you have to say, even though it's already on the face of the watch, you have to say, hey, this is by us, so people actually know, that it's connected. And I think that should have been when the designer or whoever said, hey, if we have to say by Audemars Piguet, maybe we gotta take it back to the drawing board, one more time. Let's say, I think that's pretty much it for today, guys. I think that was a pretty good show. Thank you guys for tuning in again. Hopefully do a lot more shows with you this year. Make sure you tune in to Classroom Season 3 when that pops up, and keep tuning in for all the SIHH goodness straight from Tim. And when he gets back, he'll be doing some some good stuff as well. Again, this is CQ the Watch Guy. Follow me, CQ_ the Watch Guy on Instagram. You can also email me directly, CQ@thewatchbox.com. If you have any questions you want to see in future shows, or just to say hi, or you can even call me on my direct line, 610-854-4861. All right, have a great day, guys. Enjoy your Monday, and this is CQ signing off.